everybody. Hey, James.
Hey,
Hope you guys can hear me. If you can, I want to say welcome to Dojo 292. And as James mentioned earlier, it's Friday the 13th, February. Glad to hear it's a lucky day for some, and I think that goes for me too. I've been away, as you guys have probably noticed, for a while, but I want to thank you guys for keeping me vitalized. This little enclave is just really a source of inspiration, and I've been really leaning on everything you guys have been saying, and so I just want to thank you guys for that. And as far as the topics today and the topics that have been on the fire for January and this first half of February, it's James. I've just been really
Do it again.
impressed. Jonathan James, I see. Okay, never mind. You're muted. Okay, good to have you, by the way. Oh, and seeing a new face and a couple. I'd also want to thank Birdie and Dark Bloom for their strong voices, for bringing those in to the last dojo meeting, and for all the other people who have contributed, who have been, there have been a few new faces who have been new to me, and some returning old ones, so really just an ocean of topics, and everything has seemed like it's been really dovetailing together nicely. I mean, from what you've been talking about the many brains of Gilgamesh, James, to what the psyche is experiencing as it develops and continues to grow. And we continue to churn through these forces of, I wanted to say it's ageism, but again, I don't know who to blame. The blame goes all the way around. It's just, it's difficult to watch people grow up, and it's difficult to watch people grow old and hang on to things that you feel like should be passed down. And James, you got your hand raised. Go ahead.
well, I didn't mean to rush. I actually did have a tiny topic, which was I wanted to cover more what was happening in Rome on the Friday the 17th. This Roman numeral, XVII is of course 17, but that Roman numeral is an anagram of VIXI, and I'm going to draw it out here so I can show you. So on top is the Roman numeral 17, and below it is just VIXI. So it's the same letters. They're just geometrically jumbled, as we'd say. And that was a saying that was placed on graves, meaning I have lived. This VIXI. It's nothing about that says death. It's a phrase of I have lived, or my life is over. It's taken to mean. And because kind of like that Satiro opera, the famous, sorry, I forget the name of it, but these little puzzles that we have from ancient Rome, mixing up the letters shows you that things are related in a hidden way. And because of the relationship to death and the irony, the sarcasm of I have lived, which is pretty funny, it's kind of showing you the Roman humor. That curse has been placed over that number. There's a ghost busting ritual. And it's funny that we don't do this. But imagine that we as in culture knew it was Friday the 13th, and anyone who considered themselves the head of a household, or someone who owned your own ground, so to speak, and others were dwelling on it, it would be your job tonight at midnight. You'd be busy today. You'd be preparing for tonight's ritual. And honestly, I couldn't find out if it was midnight on, like, should it be midnight the night before or midnight this night? I would argue that there's probably a faction that did both, and a faction that considered it more, I call it Cherokee. The idea that the day begins at night is sort of I mean, not that they invented it, but it's sort of related to that cosmology. But regardless of what, okay, it's the 17th and it's Friday the 17th. So at midnight, we got a lot to do. Maybe we've been preparing for this for weeks, or maybe the rest of the household has even helped us. Uh, and you think about the amount of energy it would bring into the house. It would sort of create a communion. You would bond with everyone because, oh my God, here comes the 17th. You're waiting for the predator to come. And this idea of misfortune being a predator is really what makes the hearth so so good. The home, the person in charge of the home is really in charge of giving you a vibration, a perturbation of sanctity or of safety. So as much as you, I mean, clearly they feared this number, but honestly, it's a sacred fire. It would be where all of the essence of what makes a home a home. This would be one of the few times that it could demonstrate itself in that way. But anyway, with all that said, at midnight, we'd take off our shoes and we would banish the lemurs, the ghosts. It's a ceremony where we would throw black beans over our shoulder 9 times, saying, "With these beans, I redeem me and mine." Uh, there's more about where we'd clash bronze pots and shout into the house. Very much reminds me of the Egyptian rituals of, we haven't talked about this in a while, but people are wandering around with wands. They're like holsters around their belts, and they're carrying ivory handguns, look more like boomerangs, but magic wands. And if someone cut you off in traffic, you pull out your wand and be like, "I fuck you, man, curse you, curse all of you and everything," and you literally curse them. And you'd be like, "Hey, road rage, oh my God," and you'd curse them back, and it's just this is you, this is the elementary student exercising their emotions using the power of magic, but more importantly, the power of imagination. And it's a bummer that at midnight tonight, all over America, right? That it's a bummer that I didn't see on Good Morning America. Hey, today's Friday the 13th. Uh, all you bean throwers, you know what's up, man. And you'd be talking about it, Regis and what's her name, Kelly would have a whole episode. Yeah, I was up last night and I was like, black beans. All I got's brown beans. What are we gonna do? Can I use pinto beans? Is that okay? And like this would be the riff, but underneath it all would be this ritual of homemaking, and what created that? Fear. The permission for fear. If you think about what Friday the 13th is, it's permission to express fear. It's a public service. It's a fucking utility that says, "Hey, if anyone's got any angst, let's have a Friday the 13th. That'll fix it." And you can express your angst in here, and you can pull your salvation. If you survive Friday the 13th and you were on the border of finding a posture of salvation, if this makes sense, where your complex mind just finds these little vistas of salvation, that just waking up on the 14th, you'd be like, "Oh, look at that. I did it." Well, imagine if your kids were like, "Hey, thank you for protecting us last night. That was really scary. I was really scared. But when you started banging the pots and pans, telling the ghosts they could suck your dick, that was hilarious." I mean, I'm trying to be vulgar because, it's like to really throw the vulgarness into it would be, that's cool as fuck. This is imagination. This is active psychic imagination, changing the shape and the physics of our world. And we don't have that. We have monetary commercial changing, right? My dad had the carpets replaced upstairs in this house. Looks stunning. Like stunning. The floor is lava because I'm like, James, you have dirty shoes. What, how do you get to the bedroom? I should walk on my knees, right? Like humbling myself to the ritual of the new carpets. Like literally thinking about I should get down on my knees. This is Mecca. The energy's still there. Do you understand? But it's been commercialized. It's just been commercialized. And I don't even mean this like, oh, it's been commercialized. I mean, yeah, it's been commercialized, but it's been commercialized. It's been invigorated with a shadow inside the financial world. It has a trackable presence, a tangible presence inside the financial world. And that just means it's real. Doesn't mean it's fake. It means it's real. I think the more real we're able to track these things, the more we get terrified. We get cornered. Our knight, our chess piece gets cornered. This chess piece of I will avoid the fact that I have power. Now I know my frontal lobe, so I can't call that God. I mean, you can still can, but I'm just saying, if you think about the bicameral theory we're talking about, now that my corpus callosum has become so complex that I recognize the voices in my head. Let me correct my language. I choose to now recognize the voices in my head as my other lobe. And James happens to think that's kind of legit right now because he's really into imaginating that anatomy's real. I freaking love playing anatomy. That's the better way to say it. But now that I can't say that's God, I can't say it's superstition. I can't say it's an evil reptilian. I can't say it's the narcissist who treated me bad. I'm cornered. Now there's a tangible shadow over my own magic. My own energy has a financial shadow. It has footprints. I can't hide anywhere. My power is everywhere. I can't expose it. I'm saying this because this picture blows me the fuck away. Let me see if I'm holding this right. Tell me if you can read it.
The
Is this
armored car personnel have the combination to the electronic lock. The manager does not have access to the cash safe. That's what yeah.
this is in Publix. You walk into Publix, it's in the lobby. In the lobby, there's a fortified cash deposit drop. The Brinks truck probably parks in front, walks in, empties the cash truck, so it stays there 24 hours a day. Manager, the most powerful being in Publix, right, is afraid of their own power because a robber will come in and put a gun to their head. And how do they save themselves? Whoops, that's my screensaver. How do they save themselves? They give away their power. They announce to the world, I have no power. This is a Masonic, by the way, hands up. This is a Masonic gesture of reverence. I show reverence to the power. Get your hands up. I show reverence to the Masonic uniform of power. I know I say this all the time, but I don't think people understand. James, no one would want to give away their power. You're not making any sense. And I swear to fuck, I'm making sense. It's in about me, but I swear to fuck, this is me making sense. This is me proving to you that the manager is gaining uh comfort, gaining posture, feels better by shedding some of their power publicly, shedding that. And we're running out of places to hide. And when the sun dials itself in like it has, That's the collective. This is what people feel. It's a giant fuck. That's all I got. But yeah. Happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I'm in complete alignment with the idea that all of the power that we don't have as we bemoan a world where might makes right was given away by us. That's absolutely, and it makes it so important, the unintended consequence of defining ourselves by what we are not, which is this relationship we have with media. Because again, you can't say you are not something without bringing what you are not, without manifesting it in your mind to see it. And great, it's great, and I'd like to explore that further, Lori. After you go ahead, thank you for raising your hand. It's good to see you.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that this is a greeting to the sun. This is how you get the sun. This is like the highest greeting to one another. As I see you, the sun in you sees the sun in me. It's like that's like powerful. That of course all of these things are hijacked of not wanting to own the power. But I just I love the stuff you've been producing, James, and how it's being delivered. It's incredible. And I was just thinking about my Irish lineage and how when somebody spilled salt, you always had to put the salt over your left shoulder. It wasn't your right shoulder. You had to go over your left shoulder, and it was like a superstition. And I was thinking about these ancient superstitions or these ancient rituals of pot banging, or I mean, we're in an ancient rite right now. It's the Mardi Gras season, and it's an ancient rite right before Lent. So there's this debauchery. It's like it's Bacchus. It's just really and the release of a society being able to release, their own whatever, their pent up stuff before they go into a purification ritual. I'm really seeing how like pure and then the 13th, like 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 is Rahu, and K2 is 7, so the head and the tail of the moon. So those are the mystical numbers, so they're not located in the 7 days of the week. So of course they'll make the most holy number the most magic number, because there's only there's 13 moons, right? And so then there's a magic double full moon. So that means a woman would get, her courses twice in 1 month. You could have more fertility. So of course they're going to take everything and flip it, and I'm like, no, this is how I greet people. This is how I greet the sun. This is my energy, this is my energy coming. So I'm like,
That's also Ka.
yeah,
The Egyptian symbol for Ka
yeah,
is that, and you'll see Hathor wearing a crown that has these
yeah.
gestures. And it's thought that these clay jars that the placenta was buried in was that Ka, which
That's
is
my God.
why the oldest goddesses that we tend to find are Hathor or cow based. Like I argue about the constellations, the Taurus, that shape. It's probably one of the first shapes we would recognize in the sky as being the Ka. Like the resonance, it's dripping all over us. We're like covered in this syrup of resonance where everything is so completely related that the worst thing you could do is start to call some of it evil because it's touching you. That you it's touching you. Well, you don't want to call that evil. You're gonna have a bad time, eh? You're gonna have a rough time if you keep doing that. So yeah, all power to the Ka. And if you think about it, if you put your hands up, you really are actually still mirroring the exact gesture, which is that I point my body to the power. I behold the sun. I behold the one who has power over me. I behold the righteous lion. I behold the entitled natural predator in the room. All those are it's still the same. Yeah.
Hey, Cameron, it's so good to have you back. I'm so excited. Whenever I was like, Cameron's back. All right, that's all I got.
Um, the stance you guys talk of speak of seems to me like the ultimate stance of receptivity, which is something I've been seeking to find footing in. Um, as James has been talking about apathy, it's been a it's kind of cut deep with me as someone who turned away from the trough, but as all of these things escalate and we get into these current urgencies, James has again made me almost feel like what I was doing was a form of apathy, and that apathy was a form of, if I might say, Lori, since you're talking about Mardi Gras, it seems almost like a damped hedonism. Like I'm avoiding the problems of the world and focusing on, and and not I'm not this, I'm this, and and I've got my nose down. I'm focused on everything that's within my arms reach. But again, thanks to this enclave, and not just I say thanks to this enclave because around me, a lot of one of the last straws for me as far as saying fuck it, just forgetting trying to change the world was getting burned on Pizzagate with some friends of mine who were in tiers of society that you know that they were like my important friends. I would give stuff like that, and then I felt like I embarrassed myself. And now with this recent flood of 3 million documents or whatever, people are talking about Pizzagate again and all sorts of stuff. And I don't feel like I don't trust it enough to be like, oh, I told you so or anything. I'm mostly waiting for the other shoe to drop, or I'm being tempted to come out and have the shoe drop on me again. But um, the
I
throwing the
had a
salt over his shoulder and these cultural garments, they just really do provide these rich insights into understandings, however elementary or rudimentary they might be. They provide these huge insights to our role in this world and how we can engage with it. And James, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
Oh no, I interrupted you. Actually I just wanted to confess again, because I just hope it's constructive that I remember uh, saying and thinking that a billionaire would have zero problems fulfilling their sexual fetishes without having to participate in a an Epstein trip. And I think this is part of the elite, that word elite, misinterpretation that we attribute to dopers. Anyone who's doping in an industry is going to be an elite in that industry. Uh, the and that we've learned that in order to be that at that sharp edge, there's no way to do that morally or legally or ethically because uh, every single genre has that. I'm going to use the word elite just so I can convey has an elite branch of it, the tip of the spear, and that the only way you would be on the tip of the spear, the Lance Armstrong, would be through cheating, through doping. It would be the only way that you would have the advantage because otherwise the natural order would keep everyone not as sharp. It would be a blunt edge. And as you look at what sports, what activities have blunt edges, I think those would be avenues that you would find, oh, look, no one's doping here. Everyone's, I would imagine that there's probably like a tic-tac-toe sort of the more basic something is, the less prone people are. But even then, I think you'd see the same. Look at beauty pageants, piano contests, spelling bees. Oh my God. Have you gone down the spelling bee dark hole? It's like, wow, those guys really want to win. That's the kind of that's a kind of genius. But I think we need to understand what genius is because genius seems to be more a word that means immersion, association. I relate to this more than anyone else relates. I completely lose myself in this, and people call that genius. And you would be genius because all of your plasma, all of your hallucination is pointing to uh, that parabola, that center as being who you are. You are nothing else but this craft, but this art, but this sport, but this business, but this quest. And that part, I love this new definition of genius. It really does mean probably not having a good time. Like, probably not. Probably constantly looking over your shoulder, trying to figure out how you're losing. I don't see any other way. I don't think you'd be getting any sleep at all. And I'm saying this in my confession because I want to convey something that I'd love feedback on if you guys agree or don't agree. The reason why Bill Gates comes to Epstein, the reason why everyone else came to Epstein has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with how can I be more genius? How can I be more uh, associated into what I do? And you discover someone like Epstein and you see how connected they are in the world with everyone else. You see how rich and successful they are. And you being a genius, I know weird language, but just bear with me. You being a genius would require the addiction, the association you have would require you to go to that. And you would see that the bar, in order to be in his inner circle, is sexual deviance. You would know that in order for you to acquire that special spot, all you'd have to do is be sexually deviant and let him witness you. This is this is what they do at Yale. This is what they do on 322. You have a you take off your clothes, you get in a coffin, you sexually pervert yourself. Some stories say you're supposed to tell the most perverted thing that's ever happened to you. Some says you're supposed to do things to you. I made a joke phone call on my channel years ago that has the guy calling his dad from inside the coffin saying, "Hey dad, what do I do? You know, and but that in order to indoctrinate yourself, in order for you to be more genius, you would need the piece that you think Epstein has too. And that every single industry, all the geniuses at the top, all the pointy tips of the spear would honestly have no choice. That once you had one or two, once you were inserted at Bear Stearns, once you were given $1 billion, everything else just falls into place. The geniuses come to you because they are looking for that edge. It's I don't want to sound weird, but it's very natural when I see it this way. It's I'm looking at something very natural. It Lance Armstrong technically would have been in those files. He may be. I haven't looked at him, but it's I'm saying that that's the same in Bill Gates, that's what that is. The If the stuff is true where Melinda has an STD from that, I don't I'm not I'm assuming you guys have heard this, but like if not, raise your hand. I'll tell you. I don't want to make this about that, but it's like seeing that, I think really shows you this part of it I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to compassionate that it's actually not about sex. It's about how do I how do I dope more? How do I go back and dope more? And this guy can help, right? That's all I got for now.
I see something natural in this. My mind is a little clouded right now. I typically read people who have a very high opinion of philosophy, but I've been reading someone with a higher opinion of poetry and a low opinion of philosophy for its having decided to deny the white goddess in its words, or this feminine aspect, or the moon had to deny that its sexual rights and its just any of its rights, tried to engage into a science or something. And so it seems natural to me that it has to break somewhere, and that these men who are so powerful have to break and honor these rights in some way darkly, under the and this poet, but for example, I mean, the White Goddess is horrifying. It's the muse. It's the all of those things that rock our surety. And
How
Lori,
would you, yeah,
go ahead.
let me just say this real quick. Sorry.
Yes.
How would you show your loyalty to someone? How would you show a deeper loyalty to someone than anyone else could show? You're going to have to do something perverted, or it doesn't have to be perverted, but you're going to have to do something that's immoral, that's outside the scope of what normal is, because you're trying to show more loyalty than anyone else to someone who already dopes, which means their definition of loyalty is way the fuck up there. It's like Pam Bondi up there. That's the only kind of loyalty you could show, which would mean that in order for you to be seen with these people, this is a collector. This is a collector of this perverted collector. Really makes sense. The math makes sense. There's no other way that it would work. Sorry to jump on the.
Not at all. And hopefully we can continue on this. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I've been pondering that, James, this question that you've asked. And I was like, if you believe in the 17 being the worst thing, right? Well, then you would have to be a doper if you had everything material. I don't know if anyone has been in this room that has had everything that they possibly ever wanted materially. I've been one of those people, flying weekends, Paris, blah, 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 anything I wanted. And then it would be like, well, what do you want after that? The material realm is very limited in like in its scope to give you pleasure. So they could have all the pleasure, but they wouldn't be able to get access to killing little children. They would have to join a group to do that. That would have to be a club. And you'd have to be so special to be in that club. It would be your specialness that was, it's like this special thing that only a certain amount of people in this physical world get to have that level of deviance. It's a club. And I was like, well, it would totally make sense if you believe in like, this is it. Material life is it. Well, it's not just good enough to win one Tour de France. You have to win all the Tour de France. You have to get more, more, more. And it's like that Watico of the nth degree. It's Rome on steroids. So the thinking of like, well, if you believed in an eternal forever being, you probably wouldn't be motivated that way. You'd be motivated in your uniqueness or your creativity, similar to the people I see here. But that wouldn't be at all motivating to that. I'm compassionating the billionaires, these people that just have anything. It's like, so yeah, you can have sex with anyone, but you just can't kill children. That's like the novelty, like, a club. That's how I looked at it. So that's my 2 cents.
James was speaking earlier about I can't think of the words, but I want to say that maybe this escalation is caused because of in the modern sense of things, everything is commoditized. Like we don't even want anything to be invaluable, and currency plays a role in that. To where in order for us to be able to barter our goods with currency, then everything does have to be commoditizable, and it creates a tendency for things to escalate because loyalty because the banality of loyalty becomes the banality makes it worthless, and it has to be have to be new ways to iterate that nature or to I I don't want to make it sound like I'm I don't feel like saying this is empathizing with the billionaires, but I think that a lot of the people who rush with their torches to demonize and demand the heads of these people whose heads should rightfully be demanded, I suppose. But I think that even with if there's a whole industry that capitalizes on the abuse of children and the murder of children, all of these crimes that we're being made aware of because of this drop, It can be. I can imagine it could be more than 1% of these crimes that are probably 99% of the time committed just domestically by parents or uncles or grandparents or cousins or these and so without trying to empathize the billionaires, maybe trying to see a sense in this is for the people who are getting out over their skis, not realizing how culpable they are in similar crimes. Maybe their children can watch them behave this way about those monsters, and say, "Well, you had a problem with them doing this, but what about what you did to me?" It's forgive me for if I'm drifting. Dark Bloom, thank you for raising your hand, and it's good to see you again after last Wednesday. I really appreciated what you had to share. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel like both Lori and James are explaining the how, and you're really getting to the why. This pattern that I see, and I'm sure many of you do too. It's this ping between psychology and sociology, talking about what really happens in our home, that dysfunction, what has been okay. The fact that in the 80s, I think, is when they finally came out with laws about missing children, because if your child wasn't missing for a certain period of time, they wouldn't even go look for them. And I just think that all of these are good explorations for how we're dissecting what we're coming to face at a larger level, but then also at this home base level, this internal level, this communal level. So that's all I wanted to say. And as soon as you said, yeah, what's happening in our homes, it was like, yes. And you're talking about that white goddess and this question of how do we essentially truly treat our women and our children? What do they actually mean to us beyond the value that we are defining them as? What is the core essence of the worth? So thank you.
Thank you, Dark Bloom, and for seeing that within that, and yes, we've through the commodification of everything. And again, I'm not saying that I don't see the utility in that, but yeah, I mean, um, it's just really it's really it's put the lion and the bear in the circus, and it's put
Yeah.
you know the it's I'm at a loss for words. So Lori, thank you for raising your hand. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, Dark Bloom, thank you. Appreciating your take on it. I don't think it's just men. I think there's a lot of women that have done this as well. That to me is like, I don't know how a person that can birth life could take that life like that. But there are dark, that whatever that is not just limited to men. And the other thing was, I just wanted to give my personal zetetic experience for the 80s, because I had a little girl in the 80s, and I was single a lot of that time, and I was always like, I mean, there was milk cartons that had missing children, and then it was like this time where you were, terrified of losing your child, not only to a boyfriend pedophile. It was very alert. And there was also in the schools that dare thing started. And then it was like you needed to go to the police place and get them fingerprinted. So in case they went missing, you had their that was my level of alert in the 80s. And then I was kind of having to work full time and let my little daughter go unlock the door, be one of these latchkey kids, and entertain herself with program television. There was no helicoptering then. It wasn't even unusual to have all these kids home alone in this midst of this fear that they're going to end up on a milk container. So I just wanted to share that experience. It was horribly terrifying and gripping to not have the solution to what do you do in this. It was
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to remind people that this is a dystopian distortion of the lens because we actually value life more. We value our children more. And that it's not that, oh, things are worse. People are stealing kids off the street. It's that, no, they used to take people off the street and no one cared. Yeah. The dystopian filter is shaping it to make the world look more evil because we are capable of seeing more evil that's around us now because we're doing so good, because we are advancing so fast. And it's just so don't forget that dystopian filter that this is actually how this is what progress would look like. It would be a series of holy shit, I'm so ashamed of myself. Holy shit, I'm so ashamed of myself. And that's how you raise yourself up. I'm not saying it's the only way, but I'm telling you, historically, that way works a lot. And society seems to use that method a lot. And maybe that method will and it is changing in front of us right now. Um, but ultimately, I'm fine with it. I'm saying, let's fucking ride that puppy. Let's keep using that method until something better comes along. And let's just remember what the dystopian really means. It means that we're able to see more. So, game
Yeah,
on.
thank you, James, for taking a step back from this dystopia for a moment. And if I may, just to back what Lori was saying about it's not just about demonizing men. Was it not? Was it considered a mistake by Sophia to try to create on her own? And did that make the demiurge an unintended consequence of of this is in lore, but I wanted just to agree with Lori that it doesn't always cut both ways, and maybe we're several steps away from really embodying another form of hermaphroditism that James has recognized in previous ages, but it's a goal worth aiming for. Clinton, great to see you, man. I missed you. Go ahead.
How are you doing, guys? Uh, a lot of this just reminds me of when you talk about it, you have to get to that place of displeasure or whatnot before you have a little bit of pride in the self, and and this lack of identity that we continue to talk about. Um, you know, you see, everyone wants to be on a list. You try to get picked for the kickball team, and so I see that the Epstein thing, he's just the guy holding the basket at the church. Everyone's just putting their money in trying to get in because they obviously are evil fucking people. If you get to be a billionaire, you don't have to you have to pay to be with other people because no one's with you, you know? And so we're so alone in finding ourselves. Like clearly those are probably the most alone people. And we allude to the fact that obviously they do not have all the power. We all have the power. I think the the original meaning of genius is like the spirit within, like the original spirit. So we all have that genius. We all are capable of getting there, and it just hurts a lot getting there, you know. And a lot of people have wanted mom and dad to take care of them, and no one wanted to skin their own knee, and now everyone's saying they're hurt. And I think I'm just rambling here because there's a lot of feelings, and we are definitely blaming the other. It gets to the other, like, and the whole show me your papers, that's the same thing as a diploma. Like, how hard are you willing to work for the paper? And then show me your paper. Are you qualified for this job? Oh, you're an immigrant? You're more qualified than the people with papers, but you don't have papers. And so, but if you give Jeffrey Epstein the papers, then you can, like, I guess, vacate to Israel and you're not guilty of anything, right? So you're buying freedom. You're purchasing yourself into a club of people who are, whatever, they can be taken off the list or put on the list. And we fantasize about being part of these clubs. And then when you get in them, you don't want to be in them, And so raising your hands to the sun and having your feet on the earth. We need to let the earth do its job. We're doing a disservice to Turtle Island, you know? That's all I got to say.
I wanted to add to that, Clinton, first of all, I think finding it all disgusting is just fine. And you also can see the appetite as something separate from what's actually happening. We've talked before about how a Ferrari isn't really a good car, and you're good chance you're going to get caught on fire at a red light. It's really loud. There's no air conditioning. There's not a cup holder. I don't even think it comes with a stereo. Like, I think you have to fucking add that. And the hard top leaks. It's awful. Not only is it expensive, but it's rare. And ultimately, when, like what Lori was talking about, when you have everything, the only thing else, the next level of what you would need is something rare. It's not something expensive, it's something rare. That's a higher vibration. It's culturally, we we really pull a lot of value out of how much culture values something. I don't think you can help that. Uh, I, I, I found that I still have the box that my MacBook Pro came in that I bought 2 years ago at home. And I remember literally going, this box has prana. Like, watch, I'm trying to throw it away. Oh, you should say, I'm trying to. And I'm like, why the? And I found it fascinating because, you get to do stuff like this. You get to go, why the fuck is this? What the fuck? Like, what? This is so retarded. And it's beautiful how retarded that someone like me is. Yeah, I've got so much juice here to pull from. And that commodity is the collective worship of a thing. I want that. This isn't a flaw. I think it actually means those people sort of are more human than either they can admit or we can give them credit for. But you're looking at an orca appetite inside of a gerbil kind of world. And everything that the gerbil eats is, it's pellets. It's a little bit harder to feel this way, but then you watch this orca come in and he eats like a baby deer for breakfast, and you're that's evil as fuck. Your fidelity would require that you would have these same kind of things to anything that is outside of your appetite. And that appetite, Donald Trump's appetite, was given to him at a very young age. He was raised on a certain appetite. The guy opened a casino and it went bankrupt. I'm just telling you, that has to be really hard to fucking own a casino and it go bankrupt. You have to really be bad at something. I'm just saying. I cannot.
Everything he does
Yeah.
goes bankrupt. I think that's why they gave him the job.
So you can start to piece together, here's this giant orca appetite. Here's this really just poor fisherman, just doesn't have the capability to sustain that appetite. Now you enter into a desperation. And now you become a viable tool to someone else who can bail you out. And all you got to do is something perverted, something I can take a picture of. There's nothing elite about this.
Right. It's gang mentality. You get jumped in the gang. You got to do the thing.
Yeah, you're an addict. You're an addict, and there's only one dealer. There's only one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's real though, It's happening. I love you guys. I missed you. I got the message late, and I've been dealing with a leaky situation. I have a person
I was
that
thinking about you this morning, Clinton. Yeah, I was like, man, I hope Clinton shows up today. I actually thought, maybe he's only free on Fridays. I literally said that. So
I'm free all the time. I make my own schedule. It's just when I find project human beings that I tend to, and then sometimes I get a little out of control with the tending to. I do also have my MacBook box. So I have that problem as well. It's definitely it's neat, you know. It's just evolution, and it's an inside job. We're all here evolving our way out, and we can't take anyone with us, and we'll go by ourselves when we do. And so, I definitely love you guys. It's a beautiful group.
That Clinton touches on something as far as like Trump or people who have everything as we defined it or as we characterize it, someone who has everything and can't find. Uh, I feel like I don't know if I think of like the innocence or these children as a rarity as much as it's something that's fleeting, you know. But do you think that it's or I want to ask, do you guys feel it's a perversion to try to fill a hole in you that with someone else's? I mean, it can't be that it's you know it's it's eating. I can't even pose a question, guys. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you're asking this, but if you've been brought up with a certain appetite and you're going to die if you don't eat that, what is the moral decision for you to make? And I think this blows the doors off of any definition we've ever had before about morality. And it makes it very painful to accept natural law. It's natural law is teaching you everything. And this is a big one because I think it's the ultimate lesson that says you can't hide from predator. This is the ultimate lesson of Donald Trump. It's showing you that you're not going to be able to do this. I think you're clever, trying to be all pacifistic, trying to stay into art, stay creative, keep your heart soft. And nature's telling you it's not going to cut it. You can find sanctity here like James has. James is always saying, I'm not here to survive. I'm fucking happy. I'm going to be eaten. This was the limpest thing you could imagine. It's probably very anti-masculine. It's probably not very a turn on for people. And I am just fucking happy. I really am because I feel like I'm one of the few that's smelling the fucking flowers because of that. That I got off that off ramp and said, okay, survival is good, but let's try sanctity. Wow, this is fucking better. And I think sanctity requires that you uh, understand you have a symbiosis in a jungle that has a predator. And unless you want to participate in that elitism, you are going to be food. It's going to happen. And nature is telling you this is going to happen. And I think it's the only limbo, it's the only threshold, it's the only, let's see how much you really want to be an artist. Do you want to die for it? Do you want to lose all this other things when all you have to do is go out and become a lawyer, start fucking suing people, have a bunch of money, you'll get a Rolex, then you'll be driving a Porsche, and then all these doors are going to open. Then you're going to travel around, you're going to have desires that you cannot afford, and this is called success. You get it, you know. It's a choice. And you're
They got to
born
do that. They have to be
you're
them so
born
we
with
can
those
be us.
addictions. I was born with certain addictions. And honestly, I've just lived my life as an addict. I think that the addictions I've had is I'm just guessing, but my grandfather was a lawyer, and I think I came to this world was like, man, fuck this place. Fuck that noise is what I mean. Like, fuck that noise. I want to write. And I know his one of his last things is like a man who his book wasn't written because he ran out of time is was written in like a story about him. And I was like, yeah, that's probably I'm just his addiction. I'm just his living addiction. And you know, and obviously there's more before that, but this is as far back as I can see. And I so This is why when I was in college first year, I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer. When everyone was like, what the fuck? That's all you've been saying since you were five. Like, this is all you've been saying. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This is called philosophy. This shit's pretty cool. Have you heard this? It's a totally different thing because we are born with addictions, but you also have all of the genius, the pleomorphic ability to move your association into a different part of it, you know? My brother's a soldier. My biological father's a soldier. Those two were like, I want to kill things. That's what I want to do. I want to kill things. That's an addiction you're born with. Why do you think Vlad the Impaler is related to Prince Dick Nose, whatever? That there's an addiction that comes with that kind of hunger, right? I really enjoy putting someone on a pole and watching them as I eat breakfast. I dip my bread in their wounds and drink the blood. What are my children going to be like? You could call that evil. I don't mind. But if you look at nature, this is something that's been born into the jungle that has a certain appetite, and that appetite requires a moral adherence to survival, unless unless that creature pleomorphs into something that considers sanctity as a form of survival. Meaning, my experience here is more important than my survival here. And if I get 3 minutes, that's what I will be. And if I get 3 years, that's what I will be. I will certainly want to prolong my sanctity, but I'm constantly trying to bring myself back to remember this isn't about survival. This is this is the song. It's going to be over. Stop recording it, fucking listen, you know? It's I think this is one of the most expensive things you can do as a being. And it would look like you've taken your genitals, the very things that you reproduce with, and you've torn them open inside out and stuck out all the things and turned yourself into a flower. This is what flowers do. They they literally do this. They're just like, fuck it, man. I just want to be beautiful. And they open their nuts and they're like, maybe a bee will come and tickle my nutsack and carry that away. And that's sanctity for them. It's all about the experience. It's all about that delicate experience of being exposed, of being crucified on a cross of bone, and making sure you don't have a shirt on, making sure you don't have a helmet on, right? You want that wind in your face. You want the sun to burn your skin and destroy you, blah, 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 because yeah, I'm fucking here. I was outside. That's what happens. This is what happens when you're here. You are cooked in this witness oven, you know? It's going to feel this way. So this is a crazy thought. It's anti-survivalism. It's anti-family. It's anti-fertility. It's selfish as fuck. It's egotistical as fuck. And I really think I'm the caveman of the future. People will look back and say, well, at least we got to sanctity, but boy, that was dumb. Now we're way into Lemurian vibrational resonance. Who the fuck knows what it'll be, right? I know it'll look crude, but right now, this sanctity seems to be the only way to this more sanctimonious space. This is, I think, what it feels like to be turned on consciously. You when you're turned on sort of sexually, you can kind of relate. You just imagine that all over your body. But there's times where you just feel super high from something and you don't misrepresent it. That's probably our normal state. But that normal state burns a lot more calories. I know that because I'll have moments where I'm vibrating like that, just really high. And I'll be tired in an hour and a half because I'm just like, dude, I mean, it was worth it. It was worth it. But I sense I'm going to need more calories if I'm going to sustain this. In fact, I think if I could have had more calories, I would have been able to sustain it. So I need to rethink my psychology because I want that to last longer. The epiphysis. I want to be my new norm. How is that not turning me into a fucking Donald Trump where now I'm epigenetically addicted to a higher state of being which means when you pull me over, I'm going to be all like, well, I'm a sovereign citizen. I actually don't participate in the contractual obligations that you consider me to be chattel. And if they're going to kill me, I'm like, well, that's fine. You know, you're going to step on me, but this is my sanctity moment. It's going to look like this. And the only thing that needs to change is there just needs to be more people that are like, yeah, you know, I kind of value my sanctity more. Just gonna value that. Where the governor of Minnesota would be, yeah, I kind of want to go down in history as, yeah, I fucking arrested Bavino. Yeah, put on some black makeup, fucking found his hotel, swarmed in with a SWAT team, sent a robot up the stairs. It was fun as fuck. Now I'm hiding out in a bunker because the FBI is trying to kill me, and they're probably going to shoot me in the head. They're going to say they found child porn and that I did all this other stuff. And it's still fucking, I feel alive right now. I made them pay for it. This is a different way of looking at stuff, you know, and it's dangerous. I'm talking like I'm fucking domestic terrorist right now. Shit's coming out of my mouth. You don't want that spreading around, you know, not unless it's popular. If enough people felt it, I think everyone would be on board with it. But we're not ready to get there yet.
The pollination.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we're not ready. It could be that this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Excuse me.
But you guys, on Wednesday you said we're blooming. It's just that time, and it's gonna develop a lot of allergies in the beginning, and some people are gonna get hay fever, but we'll get through it.
How about Hades fever?
Yeah. I love the
Habeas corpus.
yeah, I love it. I love the sanctity, the choice of sanctity versus that the other thing of what it's like that what we were talking about loyalty, and it's like this loyalty to keeping what you think is safe, but what's safety other than your flower blooming is the ultimate safety. To pollinate is the ultimate gift to the world, is the safety of, like, I remember when I went to initiation in Peru, and whenever you talk about the flower, I always think about that. We were asked in the sacred room, they saw us all as flowers. Each one had to pick the flower that they loved the most and put it on a gold and silver vase it was pitch black, and in this place that you couldn't see anything, and everyone picked a flower, and we put our flower up in the vase. And for 7 years they would ask, how's your flower growing? Because everyone's flowers need different soil, different light. And I picked the peony. It's a very exotic flower. It only grows in certain places, and it needs to freeze in the winter. It needs ants, and it comes up every year. It's annual. And it was like all the time, how is your unique flower growing? So then I was like, now that's 9 years later that this initiation happened. And I was like, and then it was always, you would get carpi rights, or you get these rights. And I shared on the Substack and also on Patreon, on the chat, when I went to that mound and I gave it corn, and I then tend that mound in an energetic thing, that is my flower growing on the earth as a Native American. Okay, so James has been doing a lot of work of, like, we're Native. I'm a Native American, and I've been doing a lot of work as a Native American to pollinate. And I want to share one other thing that I think is hysterically funny, because I was very motivated. I was like Madonna and the Material Girl, and I was like, I had a Rolex. Okay, I still have a Rolex. And I remember wearing that Rolex and going like this all the time, like, so that people could see my Rolex, so I could be in that club, flying to Martha's Vineyard and to Nantucket and having like this, Material Girl, having all of that. And I was just like, what a gift it is to have that. And then to choose sanctity, to choose that, it's like, that is like, if you can just, like, I don't know, feel into it. Most people, it's like they have that lack thing. It's like, to be sanctity is the most abundant thing. To be a flower is the most abundant. So thanks, Cameron. I really appreciate you being back.
Thank you, Lori. I remember, or I can recall several times in the group where we've been talking about the slow growth of others or the lack of growth in some, and we've talked about not screaming at flowers. And yet, I think what I've learned from watching nature and observing it is that flowers and blossoms, at least for most of the plants, they really do represent a stress. You know, like stress on the verge. Like I see them like at a certain time of spring and a certain time of fall, whenever it's just right there on the verge of life springing up or falling down, and that's when a lot of those blossoms happen. Or I have a couple of different plants around here where if they blossom, that means that they're on their last leg or something stressful is happening. Uh, and yet, Renee was talking about this Haitian corpus. There's this all of our power that we've given up that we don't recognize as ours because it's beyond the surface of what we see. Uh, it just plays such an it's so tangible and real. I James really helped me get out of my entrained dystopia by pointing out that I was really chasing salaciousness. That was really helpful for me. I've tried to relate that to a couple of other people with less success, but I see within this entrained dystopia, I see like on the one side my father, he's a vehemently opposed to Trump. I see everything that he was worried about coming to fruition. I see he was right in his mind about Trump being a Nazi. He was right about white nationalism, and everything is coming to fruition to validate his beliefs 100%. And yet, I don't know that it's going to end there. I feel like the opposite side sees their beliefs being validated as well. You know, the Nazis are going to be defeated by a communist takeover. The elders are going to be killed by like in a Maoist takeover because of their apathy at these injustices. And then the New World Order, like everyone's dystopia ends up being validated on this train of thought, and I don't
That's
even know
really
who they're
how
supposed to
reality
blame.
wins, you know?
Hmm.
What kind of reality can all of us collectively hallucinate where each of us get to express our flower in the way that works best? And it turns out it looks like this, where everyone feels that they're seeing reality correctly enough to where they can digest it and go forward, including us. And ultimately, it's a co-created system. And all of us are really imbued with the power of denialism. Each of us has the ability to uh, create a hallucination that allows us to ignore certain data and focus more on others. And we get to test each other. And it's frankly the fact that you can see the rightness, Cameron, in someone else's perspective that maybe you don't agree with is exactly the kind of feedback that we would need to know I'm not gripping too hard. I don't have too tight of a grip over how I'm hallucinating reality because I can see the rightness, excuse me, in everyone else too. This is, I think, part of the compassionating thing, which means you get to tap into them like a node. And honestly, I think if you start to see, if you find your own shame and you notice it, you want it to be there every day, because as soon as you find your own shame, you can subtract that from the signal that you're getting from everyone else. And now you got a fucking shameometer. It's fucking amazing. You can see all kinds of shit with the shameometer, but you have to calibrate. You have to know where your shame is. And if you insist it's not there, it's always going to be on someone else. And you're never going to be able to see that because your shadow's covering the screen, right? So this what I was trying to say though is that I think once you start to tap into this compassion radar, everyone else becomes a camera on your node. Like you get to see reality through their vessel. Your compassion allows you to log into their body and go, oh man, this guy's looking at Nazis and I fucking see him. Look at it right there. This is exactly what I see. Or here comes, Mendami. You can see all the different sides, all the different perspectives because you're compassionating enough. And I think you're not so petrified by your own hallucination, that you're able to absorb more. And now the collective becomes your hallucination. And as an oracle, you lose power in your own destiny. I'm sorry, but if you're oracleizing the world, I don't think that you really can have a, I want the world to be this way. I think you're more about how is the world? What is the world? It's a much more perceptive, not proactive kind of way of seeing. So it's very different energy, you know, and it's almost antithetical to the concept of survival or victory, like I'm saying. You don't want to change the world because you're too busy listening to it. It's not even that you don't want to change. I think that in order for, you're fucking busy, man. You got the headphones on, you're listening. That's all you can do right now.
Absolutely. And as far as like being compassionating these other perspectives, uh, your talk about apathy has forced me to try to compassionate what made that such a prize for so many philosophers. You know, from oh man, it doesn't matter who their names are. You know, trying to break away from pathologies that blind rationality. I can compassion. I have compassion for it, but yeah, no, it's more and more. I feel less inclined
This is
to.
why I think this is why it helps to say that these are appetites, because you don't have to judge them. You're simply just looking at the appetites of others. And you're using that appetite to just discern what reality looks like from their vessel. And then that just imbues you with more zetetic data to just see things like that. So culture becomes more important. Mythology becomes more important. I swear to you, Wikipedia is the most valuable tool that you have. I swear to you, you want that collective pluralism. That's what you want. You want the freshest mythology right now. You don't give a shit what's accurate. It's better to know what people think they know. There's where all the data is. Because ultimately, if you're going to chase this absolute of, oh, I have the answer, no one else does, you don't see shit, man. You don't see shit. You're basically holding a vision for others to see. Do you see what I mean? You want everyone else to see this, so you were seizing yourself around this, that this is how reality is, which is great, but you're not seeing reality. You are showing reality to anyone else that looks at you. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Half of us are seeing, the other half of us are making the shapes to be seen by you and me, right? This is the obelisk and the pool. The pool is your peripheral vision, right? You're not seeing color, you're seeing vectorized movements, you're compassionating where something's coming from. Isn't, do you hear how, oh my God, like that's all your peripheral vision is doing is watching where someone's coming from. That's all it's tracking. It doesn't even track light. It literally only responds to vectored movement, to compassionary. Well, someone's coming from here over here. Someone is sad coming into happiness. Someone is happy coming into sad. So all of your peripheral vision is compassion listening. You're listening to the compassion, and you need a science to put pixels on your compassion tablet so you can on your desktop so you can just see the data, right? So we've invented vision and spatial and gestures and fashion and colors, and we've given ourselves some luminous skin so we can see our pulse and either detect when we're lying or lie to ourselves that we can't detect when someone's lying. That all that is colossally important because it's all stacked on top of each other, on top of each other, all these different layers. So really everything is simply perception and appetite, because ultimately perception is a fucking appetite. Ultimately, that's what it is. You desire to eat awareness. Every time you transcribe, every time you pulse, every time you choose, I'm going to evacuate my lungs, you know for a fact what's going to happen. that the suction, the physics is going to cause you to reinvigorate your brain and make you think again. And you keep choosing yes. You keep saying yes while you tell me how evil the world is. So what's really happening? Right?
You think that, as we become, that you're talking about loyalty and alignment, and if you just, as you become more loyal to yourself, you realize that everyone else is right where you are, and looking for it outside isn't going to help. That's all like collective agreement, and that's what you're saying. Like, if we could all agree the dragons were real, they'd be flying around outside
Yeah.
this afternoon. We all know this, and so it's beautiful seeing that, when as you start to realize there is no other. The ignorance is their choice, and you can't make that for them.
Yeah.
And we slowly just start smelling the smells and interacting the way that we want
Yeah.
to with nature. And you can navigate around those people. They're going to be here, and they teach us, like it's better at the top in the elite display the most vulgar, disgusting shit, so we don't have to do it down here in the streets.
Yeah.
Let them do it,
Yeah.
and it's I get what you're saying, Cameron. I could never try to steal the light from the person connected to it, like when it comes to like I maybe like feeding off the children or doing these crass things to just it it's vampirism at its core. You have no bliss, so you're stealing it from that beautiful light inside the child, because they're still connected to this pre-language. They know what the Mother Earth has to give us, and what
Yeah.
what we're taking from her.
I think that if you were on the mat with me and you said that, I might want to challenge you by saying you can compassionate that even more. If you are a fish that's been pulled out of the water and you're on the dock and you're flapping around on the dock, and you as an observer see this fish and you want to help the fish and you go to and try and pick up the fish, but the fish is flopping around everywhere. And you're trying to grab it and it keeps jumping out. And you finally decide, you're stupid fish, I'm trying to help you, but you're not behaving properly. You have this desire to flop around. You're choosing to act like a narcissist. This is what a narcissist is. It's someone that's been uh, de-winded. They, they've been hit in this, it's just the perfect time. They've been punched in the stomach and they lost their breath. And they can't do anything that you would deem normal. They cannot respond in any normal way that you would see. And we can call that, we can disparage that. I'm not saying you're disparaging it, but we could disparage that. We could say that they choose something that I would never choose. This is what I would pull you on the mat about, Clinton. I think that you would find that if someone, I don't want to do it, but if someone was to pull you out of the water and throw you on the dock, I think you would find that you would behave exactly the same way. And that's what's very difficult. This is what I think is stopping us from fully compassionating, that people like Hitler and Epstein are showing you a fragment of who you are if you were on that same dock, if you were in that same situation where you've been born, or fucking Trump. It's gross. But this is the same appetite you would have if you were born into this kind of pattern and lacked the ability to feed yourself. That nature would want you. I know it's sick. I know this is sick, but this is why it's 5G love. That nature would want you to follow your moral code, regardless of where that takes you. That the moral answer would be to flop around on the dock like that, to behave like a narcissist, to cannibalize someone. Ultimately, you are voting for a preciousness. So I don't burn me in hell for saying this because I just want you to hear it. It's more important that you hear it than I don't burn in hell because I'm probably going to do that anyway. Frankly, I think we're doing it right now. But anyway,
We're here right now. Yeah, we're
yeah.
here. We're doing it.
Ultimately, that is the moral decision if you're looking at this from 5G. The not I love my mom because she feeds me. Not that's 1G. Not I love my brother because he's my equal and we're family. That's 2G. Not I love my child because I'm their parent. That's 3G. Not I love him because he's also a human even though I don't know him. No, it's loving the fucking great white shark. Loving loving the predator, loving the most evil person you could ever imagine. I don't need you to love him. I just need you to know that that's what's called 5G love. That is the entire system of Gaia. It has capacity to love all of that. Every part of that jungle is important. It's so desperately important that she has installed in you your own moral compass that gives you full fucking permission to cannibalize fucking children. That kind of authority, that kind of sovereignty, she deemed important enough and trusted you enough to let you be someone like Donald Trump wandering around through this earth. And I guarantee you that guy's probably nice compared to other fuckers that we can't even fathom, what they're capable of. And this ultimately is a a sign of a very healthy, lush, dystopian as fuck jungle that has every fucking piece of magic you could imagine in there and every piece of evil you could imagine. Like that's the dystopian part. All the good stuff has the spectrums there. And ultimately, I think
Absolutely.
we want that jungle to be healthy.
Well, and
Ultimately, we
I
stop
agree
hating
with
over
that
it.
because I love it because I don't have to be that, So I can compassionate all of it. I agree with you 100%. No one's way is better than the other ones. It is 100% your perspective, and I'm sure everything they're doing is right, by their moral compass and
If
where
the
they're guiding
entire
themselves.
world was behaving differently, Trump's appetite would not be satisfied in this way. He would be finding his appetite acting a different way. In fact, even being nicer to people may turn out to feed him more because of the contextual way everyone else sees themselves changes. So he doesn't even really have autonomy. I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, I appreciate you, sir.
You too, Clinton. We appreciate you. Doug Bloom, go ahead. See your hands raised.
Yes, I'm processing out loud, but this is stuff that I've kind of been writing about on my own because James was talking about the way that or we could go with pop psychology here, that he's observing, where automatically the narcissist is pure evil and the empath is wholly blameless, essentially, instead of kind of recognizing the dichotomy that's really at play there, where a narcissist is moving from this point of without me, the community is nothing. An empath is moving from that place of I am nothing without the community. And really, these two things, they need each other. So, empaths will come in or people who are empathic and say, oh, this narcissist, da 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 da. But really, he or she is teaching you to have entitlement and self and development. And if we live in this place where we think that only empaths can heal and integrate, but a narcissist can't, what we would be saying is that nobody can change, nothing can change, everything is static. And essentially, I guess we're just going to get mosquitoes. I don't know. But it's something I've been really thinking about because even today on the stream when you said we don't come to a place of violence, quote unquote, or even a place of standing up for ourselves. I think because collectively we do compassionate the empath without recognizing where the narcissist is coming from, without recognizing, essentially these choices are made from the ages of 0 to 7. And yes, they're rudimentary. And that's just what I'm seeing. So
I like to say that a narc is the natural world's way of teaching boundaries to the empath, and the empath is the natural world's way of teaching the lack of boundaries to the narc. So one is causing the other to show more self-love and protect themselves, put calories into protecting themselves, and the other is saying you're never gonna be able to survive if you keep protecting yourself too much. So you have two exactly, they're complementary. One is ripping the other one apart while the other is tearing the other apart too. And that both those are leading you back into something a little bit more what we would call normal now. And the dystopian nature is really what we're complaining about. We're just looking at the dystopian, wow, you could really be narky. You could really be empathy. People don't really hear a lot of disparagement about empaths. And that's a big clue about understanding where we're at, and more importantly, what's hard for us to do. This is predator prey. The empath is the rabbit, the narc is the wolf. And these two things are very vital to each other. The prey, I'm sorry, but a bunny's like, look how long my ears are. Oh, look how fluffy my butt is. And I don't have any sharp teeth. I won't do anything if you caught me. And that's an attraction. That's a kind of magnet. It's the empath. I know this because it's how I grew up. The empath grows these softness. We become right because we want to feel worth. And if someone comes and ravages us, we're pissed, but now we know we're fucking worth something. We fucking know for the first time, oh my God, I'm worth being eaten. I must start protecting myself now. That's who else is going to teach you that, you know? So yeah, and that's nature. That's that 5G shit that's just god awful, but yeah.
Well said, James. And really love how everybody in this group is able to recognize the polarity and that exuberance's role in the capacitance. Our collective capacitance. It really is electric. And and yes, Becca, uh, thank you for raising your hand. We got a few minutes. If you'll go ahead and close us out, I appreciate it. And I'll close up after you. Thank you for raising your hand and go ahead.
Thank you for calling on me. I thought I must have the time wrong. I thought we had a lot more time. So I was going to say something kind of long, but I
Okay.
okay, I understand 5G love. Uh, I like to, and when I'm really zoomed out, I can see definitely the beauty in a great white shark. I can even see the beauty in the great evil people of history and of current times. But I'm really not here to like float up there and be able to love everything. And sometimes I also want to zoom in and get into the mix. Like I'm here on Earth not to be a disembodied floating up in beauty of this kaleidoscope. I want to be in there. I want to be in there fighting and scrapping and celebrating. And yeah, so it's finding that the right level. Thanks.
Well said, Becky. Becca, I'm so sorry. Yeah, and yeah, we can't escape predator. Or I can't escape predator or predation for the same reason I can't escape victimization. For the same reason I can't escape Satan or God if I can risk being sacrilegious, because it's all right here. And yeah, so
Yeah, I don't I really glad you brought that up, Becca, because I don't think that one is more connected to the world by living in 5G. I think that if you had a giant appetite, like the Cthulhu, the giant creature living under the sea, that's probably the kind of love that's going to suit Cthulhu, is that 5G love. And I just wanted to say I really agree with you. I think that our association and our addiction into life, what we find important is really more of a sign of health than its lack. So I appreciate that.
James. Thank you again, Becca, and Dark Bloom, and Lori, and Clinton, and Renee. Let me see if there's anyone else here who spoke today. But I think that was everyone who spoke today. So I want to thank you all for raising your hand, and for everyone else who attended today. James, excellent episode today, and really all month. Been blown away and excited for more. If everybody would like to unmute and say goodbye, we'll close this dojo.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy 13th, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
9 beans, 9 black beans over your shoulder, bang some pots. Take care.